some of the things. Alright? See, you know you answer, you remember well. If you don't know the answer, when I say the answer, you hear, you remember something, right? So nothing to worry about it. Alright? See the question. What does the question say?
Firstly,
Yes, what are the boundaries of thoracic inlet?
C7, T1.
C7 to T1.
Equipment processes are that. I'm not sure.
Laterally bounded by.
Don't take your mobile phones immediately. Think over. At least look at the skeleton there and think of what could be the thoracic inlet. You told sternum. Which part of sternum?
Manubrium.
Manubrium of sternum in the front. Behind in the center, what is going? Vertebral column. Which vertebrae should be there?
C.
Thoracic
T1.
inlet. So T1 should be the vertebrae. What is the bone which connects both the manubrium with the vertebrae? First rib. This is the boundaries of thoracic inlet. What was so difficult in this? Alright. So remember, you have something called thoracic inlet and thoracic outlet. Thoracic outlet is formed by all the cartilages. Clear?
Yeah.
All the cartilage, then 11th rib, 12th rib, and 12th lumbar vertebrae. Thoracic outlet is closed by which structure?
Diaphragm.
Diaphragm. Alright? So remember, that is thoracic inlet. Thoracic inlet is not a horizontal structure, it's slightly tilted forward. Okay? Because manubrium is at a lower level.
C.
Yeah.
C.
C.
So descending thoracic aorta. Alright, so what's the question here? Which of the following structures passes through
Yeah.
thoracic outlet? Understood? So this has got to be descending thoracic aorta because other structures have connection with the neck. If I ask you superior mediastinum, boundaries of superior mediastinum, and if I ask you what are the contents of superior mediastinum, then you have to write. So here I am asking you what are the important structures. That means you have to say what is the important content of superior mediastinum.
Yeah. Thymus.
Say it loud. If it's correct,
Phrenic
otherwise
nerve.
I'll grind my teeth.
Phrenic nerve, vagus
Then you
nerve.
should know it's
Phrenic
wrong.
nerve.
I mean, it passes through. Right?
It's through.
Right? Pulmonary trunk. I'm not sure.
Superior.
Esophagus, trachea, also.
Yeah, esophagus, trachea. We start from the most one. Esophagus, trachea. After that,
Vagus,
phrenic.
phrenic.
See, very simple. What are the two structures that go from the neck into the thorax?
Esophagus.
Esophagus and trachea,
Trachea.
two important structures. Alright?
Yeah.
They have to pass through superior mediastinum. Clear? Any other important blood vessel that begins
Arch
and
of
ends
aorta.
at the superior mediastinum?
Arch of aorta.
Arch of aorta. Three
These
important
branches.
things you write first. Is there any nerves that go from the neck into the superior mediastinum?
Current.
Vagus nerve goes through, and when it goes through, it gives branches
Phrenic.
also. Superior laryngeal and recurrent laryngeal nerve
RL
are
and-
branches of vagus.
Yeah.
So vagus nerve in the neck gives those branches also, which pass through superior mediastinum. Clear? Is there any nervous tissue other than vagus nerve that goes through?
Phrenic.
Any structure of the autonomic nervous system goes through?
Thoracic, sympathetic.
Sympathetic trunk
Yeah.
goes through this. So sympathetic chain on both the sides pass through superior mediastinum. Clear? So always remember this. Whenever we write about mediastinum, particularly superior mediastinum and posterior mediastinum, you should write one tube. Understood? You should write one blood vessel. Clear? Then you should write one nerve, one autonomic nerve. Then you should always write one lymphatic system. So one structure from each will pass through superior mediastinum and also posterior mediastinum. This is very, very important. Keep this in mind. Don't forget this. Understood? Now, which is the lymphatic structure that passes through the neck, through the superior mediastinum?
Thoracic. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
the word private battles. Here? Yes. Remember the word private battles. Of course, I didn't make this mnemonic. It was given. I found it very easy. PVT stands for phrenic, vagus and trachea. B stands for brachiocephalic vein, aortic arch, thoracic duct, thymus, lymph node, esophagus and sympathetic chain. Alright? So at least you should know one nerve. Tubular structures are here. This one, trachea and esophagus are tubular structures. Then you should have blood vessel. Not forget this. Then this is lymphatics. Understood? Thymus also can extend into superior mediastinum, and this is for autonomic nervous system. So like this, if you know that you have to write one component for each system, then you will be able to write something about the content. Now remember this, the most important thing here is trachea will stop at the superior mediastinum. Alright? Aortic arch also brachiocephalic, but thoracic duct, sympathetic chain, esophagus, all these structures and vagus also, all these structures will be part of posterior mediastinum. So if you know superior mediastinal structures, you can always answer posterior mediastinal structures. Okay? Yes. Yes, what is the answer for this? Just now I told you, thoracic duct is present in both posterior mediastinum as well as superior mediastinum. It enters into the thorax through opening in the diaphragm, which is the aortic opening. Clear? Then it passes in the posterior mediastinum. When it comes to the level of T4, it crosses from the right side to the opposite side, left side, and then drains into, where does thoracic duct drain finally?
Angle between subclavian and
All right, one
subclavian
student has told angle between subclavian and subclavian artery or vein?
vein,
Subclavian vein and
brachiocephalic vein.
Internal jugular vein.
internal jugular vein on the left side.
Left side.
Okay?
Because it will enter through SVC, right?
Yeah.
All right. These are the important things which you should know. Posterior mediastinum, what are the structures? Huh? All right.
Right, T3. Arida.
Crux is no, not crux.
Very simple question. There's no much confusion in this. All of you should know.
Posterior.
I think it's the right atrium, isn't it?
Right atrium,
Because
because it's top most to the right. Makes sense. Esophagus passing over here.
I mean the heart somewhere.
See, always remember this. Very simple. Apex of the heart is pointing towards which structure? Anterior thoracic wall. Agree? That's why you are able to feel the apical impulse. Opposite of apex is called as base. Clear? Base is formed by which structure?
Left
Left
ventricle.
ventricle.
Left,
Ventricle.
Left ventricle.
Atrium.
left atrium.
Oh.
So in front, if apex is there, straight behind you have the left atrium. Which structure now is related to the esophagus?
Left atrium.
Esophagus is in the posterior mediastinum. So which part should be related?
Left atrium.
Left atrium is the one that is related to esophagus.
It's heart orientation.
All right.
This is right. This is left. Like this.
Next.
Yeah. The diaphragm. as well.
Diaphragm.
Diaphragm is on.
Diaphragm. And still no pericardial ligaments.
Yeah. Correct.
Yes. Attachments of pericardium.
Down is diaphragm.
Yeah.
Yes, say it loud. What is it?
Diaphragm.
Yes, pericardium does not move here and there, it stays in one place, so it has to be attached to some structure. So the most important structure that it is sitting on is the diaphragm. So it is attached to the diaphragm, right? Through phrenico-pericardial ligament or pericardiophrenik ligament, whatever you say, it's the same. Clear? That is here. Next, it is attached to sternum by ligaments called as sternopericardial ligaments. Understood? Yes. Is this only two attachments? The fibrous pericardium, after covering the heart, it is also attached to the
Great
Vessels.
great vessels. So that is also one attachment of pericardium. Understood? Clear with this? Okay.
I think all.
This and all I told you. You should know what is epicardium, what is endocardium. What is endocardium?
Lining the heart chambers.
Yes, single layer of endothelium lining the inner surface of the heart. That is called as endocardium. Understood? Outside the heart, we have the visceral pericardium, that is a serous layer which covers the heart and is closely attached to it. That is called as epicardium. Alright? Pericardial sinuses. How many pericardial sinuses are there? There are two pericardial sinuses.
Yeah.
One is called transverse sinus, other one is called oblique sinus. Alright?
Oblique is the cul-de-sac. It's like blind.
Clear? What is the boundaries of transverse sinus?
The couch and pulmonary trunk.
Yes, all of you have studied something, but you are not able to apply it when it's being questioned. That's all. One fellow was doing this, brushing his teeth in the morning, but he was not able to tell what was the boundaries. It's you brushing the teeth, right? That's how they teach kindergarten students, right? Brush your teeth like this, they will teach. Alright? See, you have two sinuses. One is transverse sinus, other one is oblique sinus. Transverse sinus you can see in the heart, but oblique sinus you have to remove the heart and then only you can see, because this is a small space here. Otherwise, what was the term you used?
Cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac. Clear? Cul-de-sac means end or a small area which is at the falls at the end. Alright? So transverse sinus, you put the finger behind pulmonary artery and pulmonary trunk and ascending aorta. Understood?
Yep.
That we can see here. So the anterior boundary of transverse sinus is these two structures. What are these two structures?
Pulmonary trunk and ascending aorta.
Yes. Behind?
Superior.
descending.
Oh.
What was the base of the heart? Just now I told you.
Left it.
Left atrium. Finish. Understood? Right atrium does not come into play at all. Clear? Alright, so this is the boundaries. Now when you talk about the boundaries of oblique sinus, just look at this and answer. All these things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is an inverted J-shaped structure and it is bounded by SVC, IVC and 2 pulmonary veins on the right side and 2 pulmonary veins on the left side. This is the boundary. So this is where you get the left atrium. And you press the left atrium, you have the esophagus coming behind. So that's why, if you recollect, you would have studied something about mitral valve disease. That is called mitral stenosis in pathology, right?
Yep.
Due to rheumatic heart disease. Now what happens in mitral stenosis? Blood from the atrium cannot come into left ventricle because the valve opening is become very small. It's not dilating, agreed? So every time blood flows back into the left atrium, the left atrium keeps on enlarging. Understood? If there was no oblique sinus, the left atrium won't be able to enlarge. Understood? It's because of this sinus, the left atrium keeps on enlarging. And when it enlarges too much, it presses on the esophagus. Understood? So sometimes the patient will have difficulty in swallowing, and if you take a barium swallow X-ray of esophagus, you get the sickle sign of esophagus in case of mitral stenosis.
Okay.
Understood? So this is the anatomical reason. All right.
Coronary sinus, SVC, IVC, na?
Right atrium, yeah.
Superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, coronary sinus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's all.
SVC, then
IVC,
then
coronary sinus.
coronary sinus, then
There's one small one also. Forgot the name.
Fossa velisa. No,
No,
that's
no,
the
no.
remnant.
No, there's one small vein. I forgot the name.
what is that called as small veins?
I don't remember.
Then we have to look at venous drainage of the heart.
No.
No.
That one was coronary side.
That one all comes in
See,
coronary.
remember there is something called as anterior cardiac veins. They drain into
Right atrium direct.
right atrium. Okay, you should remember this. Then there is something called venae cordis minimi.
That's
That also drains into this. Okay,
This minimum.
Ah.
clear? This is the answer. These are the structures which drain into right atrium. Yes.
Inner cardiac vein.
What is the answer?
Posterior interventricular groove.
Yes, posterior interventricular groove. All right. Only this much I got. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I have to ask you the question: which vein is present in the anterior interventricular groove?
Great cardiac vein.
Great cardiac vein. Which is the artery present in the anterior interventricular groove?
Anterior interventricular
Anterior
artery.
interventricular artery. Then there is something called small cardiac vein. Where is it present?
Small.
Three veins are important: great cardiac vein, middle cardiac vein, small cardiac vein. Where does small cardiac vein come from? All right, let's stop with this.
Not sure.
Yes, switch on this light. Huh? Yes. Yes, small cardiac vein.
Ada artery mana?
Coronary ventricle. It's like
Okay, not small. Great.
no. I mean, the coronary surface is kind of like isn't it in
That's what you were saying, right?
Mm.
Small cardiac. So basically, the atrioventricular sulcus, the right atrioventricular sulcus.
So in between lah.
Yeah, it's kind of like around.
So that's why small. And great.
Stop a bit.
The great is in the anterior.
Say, what are the branches of coronary artery? Huh?
Left and right.
See, my question was, what are the branches of coronary artery? I never asked what is coronary artery. I overheard what you are talking, huh?
Left circumflex artery.
Suppose if I ask you right coronary artery, describe right coronary artery, what will you write?
So we talk about where it comes from. Where does it come from? Ascending here. This one.
Yes.
The coronary surface. Yeah, coronary surface. Yeah, meets
Yes.
Cik, bangga. Tell me.
Oh, okay.
It's your job now.
Okay.
Hey, wait, I haven't done it.
Okay.
See, all of you, okay, before I do this, let me ask you one simple
Yeah.
question. All of you know the borders,
Nice, thank you.
borders, margins of heart. Border, and superior border, left border.
Where's the camera right?
That's on the right.
Why you put the order on the camera?
I don't know, I tried to get an angle. Nice. Huh? Perfect feet. I know, right? My shot's a good one.
Here, suppose this is the diaphragm. On top of this, heart sitting here. We'll have the right atrium on this side. Anterior interventricular groove. You have the aorta and you will have the pulmonary trunk, something like this. Alright? It's a very rough diagram. I'm not drawing anything very clear. So borders of the heart means keeping the heart in position inside. You draw 4 lines to give the outline of the heart. That is called borders. Alright? So there are 4 borders when you look at the. Okay, thank you. There are 4 borders. Superior border, right border, left border, inferior border. There are 4 borders, huh? Right border is always related to right atrium. This is anterior interventricular groove. To the left side you have left ventricle,
right ventricle.
right ventricle. So the left border is always related to
Left ventricle.
inferior border is always related to
Right ventricle.
right ventricle. Understood? Apex is always formed by left ventricle. So behind this you will have left atrium. That's why apex here, base behind. Understood? Now remember this. These are borders. There is something called margins. Alright? Now what is a margin? So remember, when we talk about the heart has got how many surface? Heart has got how many surface? 2 surface. Understood? So remember, heart has got only 2 surface. One surface that faces anteriorly, one surface that faces inferiorly. Clear? Otherwise, once upon a time it's posterior, now it's inferior. Understood? So remember, now keeping the heart in position like this surface is the sternocostal surface. Understood? Going from here to here. Sternocostal surface. Remember, surface of the heart, it's mainly related to ventricles. We don't include the atrium in this. Understood? So this is sternocostal surface. When you look below, where the surface is sitting on the diaphragm, this surface, this is called inferior surface or diaphragmatic surface because it is sitting on the diaphragm. Understood? In some books they say there is something called posterior surface. Where is this posterior surface? Very simple. The base of the heart is sometimes called as posterior surface. So remember, again watch carefully. This is sternocostal surface. This is the diaphragm, right? This is the sternocostal surface. This is the diaphragmatic surface. Some people say this is posterior surface, but we always say base of the heart so that you don't confuse. Understood? Now if there are only 2 surface, how many margins should be there? See here, this sternocostal surface, this is inferior surface. So how many margins should be there? Only 2 margins. Understood? So in this position, this margin becomes right margin. Understood? Similarly, if you go from here to here, this margin becomes, if this is right, the other side is left margin. That is why in coronary arteries you have marginal arteries. You don't have border arteries. Understood? Why do you have marginal arteries? Because there are only 2 margins. Any artery going in that margin should be called as marginal artery. Understood? So heart has got how many margins? Only 2 margins. Understood? So now if you look at the parts here, you have the apex of the heart, sternocostal surface, right margin, left margin, inferior surface. Inferior surface has got another name, that is diaphragmatic surface. Understood? Okay? Clear with this? Fine. To hold the heart in anatomical position, we always keep the hand in the xiphisternum. You see the depression here, right? At the lower end of sternum, you keep the hand, then you keep the heart with the apex slightly turned towards the left. So this is the anatomical position of the heart. Understood? All right. On the sternocostal surface, what are the important structures that you will see? Important features is, you see a groove. I'll keep it here. You see a groove. This groove is the anterior interventricular groove. This is the right ventricle. This becomes the left ventricle. This is the apex. So the anterior interventricular groove will always go slightly to the right of the apex. If you trace this groove will go and join with the posterior interventricular groove. Clear? Next, two ventricles you have identified. Now on the right ventricle you have a small elevation here which continues as pulmonary trunk. See this? Let me pin this area. See this pinned area? This pinned area, if you see, it continues as pulmonary trunk. What is this called as? Conus arteriosus. What is it called as? Conus arteriosus. Clear? So artery supplying this part of the heart is called as conus artery. Understood? Clear? Okay. So you have identified apex, anterior interventricular groove, you have identified right ventricle and left ventricle, you have identified right margin, left margin. Right margin is usually very sharp. Left margin is not so sharp. Understood? Clear? Fine. So 4 borders I have shown you. Fine. This one we have identified, right. Next we go to identify the right atrium. This is the right atrium. Keep the heart in position. You can see this is the right atrium. Alright. If I pin this,
Appendix.
what is this? Poor fellow, he is moving here and there. What is this? It's not appendix. That word also starts with A.
Auricle.
It's called the auricle of the right atrium. So every atrium, right or left, will have a auricle. This is the auricle of right atrium. Okay. Now the place where I am keeping my forceps here, in between the atrium and the right ventricle, this is called as AV groove. This is AV groove. This is AV groove. Alright. Now there are 2 AV grooves, one on the right side, other one on the left side. What is the structure that goes in the AV groove? Coronary artery. Right coronary artery and left coronary artery. Understood? Okay. Let's look at the base. In this model, just to tell you, apex, anterior interventricular groove, left ventricle, right ventricle, base, alright, right atrium, right auricle. This is the AV groove. Which AV groove? Right AV groove. Clear? So you have identified. And this area is the conus. Conus arteriosus. Clear? Fine. Now when you look at the base, this structure is SVC. This structure that you see is the, let me pin. So you see a nice structure. Just opposite the apex, what should be that? What is that base formed by? Left atrium. So I have pinned the left atrium. This is the left atrium. Now you can observe how many veins should open into left atrium? 4. 2 from the right side, 2 from the left side. They are called as pulmonary veins. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 pulmonary veins joining. So this is left atrium. So if I pin a structure like this, then you should say it is left atrium. All right. Now I am going to pin 2 structures. In this model, what will you write?
Right auricle
Yes, right auricle,
and
Left
left
or
auricle,
Left auricle.
right auricle and left auricle. Clear? So you should think first. If I am putting a pin or placing a pin at the auricle here or in the tip, right? Then you have to say it's auricle. If I want to ask you atrium, I will not pin here. Clear with this? If I want to ask you right atrium, I will pin more in the atrium like this. Then you say it is atrium. If I pin here, your answer should be auricle. If I want to ask you left atrium, I will put the pin here, like what I showed before. Understood?
Yes.
So think carefully before answering. All right? Fine. Let us look at these 2 structures. I am using the same color. Okay, let me use some color. Let us make life colorful. Huh? Already it is dull. So already it is dull. So many questions, so many answers. Right? I thought this fellow will leave me in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. This fellow is making me sit down. And he is talking. Dear God, save me. All right. What are these 2 structures?
Ascending aortic fields pulmonary trunk.
All right. If you say ascending aorta, that should be the correct answer. If I don't just say aorta, because aorta has got different parts. Clear? Since I have pinned here, it has to be ascending aorta. If I put the same pin in this place, yes, then it becomes arch of aorta. Understood? Descending thoracic aorta is not here. I won't ask you. Understood? What are the questions I can ask? First question.
branches of ascending is coronary.
Yes, what are the branches of ascending aorta?
Left and right coronary arteries.
So ascending aorta has got branches. It is coronary arteries. Branches of arch of aorta?
Left brachiocephalic.
Yes, right brachiocephalic trunk.
Left subclavian.
Right.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Left common
Okay,
core.
sorry. Paracervical is branch of subclavian.
Clear? All of you know the answers, right? Fine. So you have identified these structures. Now it's time to go to this. If I pin this structure, what will you write?
Anterior, interventricular.
Left anterior descending artery, anterior interventricular.
If I pin this structure, what will you write? Yes, anterior interventricular artery, otherwise called as left anterior descending artery. Whichever you write, but don't go and commit vein. Understood? Never commit it is veins. It has to be only arteries. Understood? Because arteries are clinically more important than veins. Okay? Now, what are the branches of okay, this is one. Okay, one more artery. So many branches here. Okay, right. Now I have pinned two branches here. Two arteries. What will you write? Huh. This one, this lowermost is going along the margin. So write marginal artery. What is this then? Yes, this is ventricular branch. Okay, conus branch is here. Conus branch is here. Understood? This is conus branch. See here, going towards the conus. This is ventricular branch. This is right marginal branch. Understood? Okay? If this is right marginal branch, this one is left marginal branch. See here, it's going along the left margin. Alright? Clear? Right. Now, all the structures here are over. Let's go to the inferior surface. Inferior surface is again very, very simple. Very easy.
Just right auricle.
Auricles are present only in the atrium. So, but you should say whether it's right or left side. Alright? Okay. Now I am going to show you some parts here. All of them are crumbling. Okay. Now when you look at the inferior surface, you can see the two ventricles, then you can see the two atrium. Understood? Now if you, this is the anterior interventricular groove here, and you have some blood vessels on it. You have the interventricular AV groove coming from here, AV groove coming from here. This is right AV groove, this is left AV groove. Now in between the left atrium and the right atrium, here also you have a groove. So this place is the meeting point of how many grooves? Four grooves. This point where the interventricular groove, interatrial groove and the two AV groove meet, this area is called the crux of the heart. Understood? What is the important structure that you will see in the crux of the heart is always coronary sinus. You see this? This is coronary sinus. This is coronary sinus. In this posterior interventricular groove here, you will have one artery and one vein. The artery is posterior interventricular artery. Very, very important artery. Understood? Why? Something else. Dominance of the heart is based on posterior interventricular artery. Understood? Yeah? Fine. Now posterior interventricular artery, what are the questions I can ask? It's okay. Coronary sinus, what are the questions I can ask? What are the tributaries of coronary sinus? Yes, what are the tributaries? Name the three major tributaries of great cardiac vein.
Middle cardiac vein,
Yes,
small
small
cardiac
cardiac vein, middle cardiac vein. Put together is the three major tributaries. Understood? Okay, fine. So this is the three structures here. This is the vein. This is the posterior interventricular artery. This is the middle cardiac vein. This is coronary sinus. Clear? This is the crux of the heart. This is the right atrium. This is the left atrium. So watch carefully which structure we pin. Clear? If I pin anything on the sternocostal surface, you can see the blood vessels standing upwards. Clear? If I pin anything on the inferior surface, you will see that the blood vessels are facing. Yes, we make it lie down like this. Then you should know this is inferior surface. Inferior surface, if you observe any heart, it will be more flat. Sternocostal surface, if you observe, it is more, yes, convex. Not concave. Understood? Okay, now comes the branches of coronary artery. What are the branches of coronary artery? What are the branches of right coronary artery? What are the branches of left coronary artery? Now you have seen some branches, right? Yes, based on that, please tell me what are the branches of right coronary artery?
Right marginal,
Marginal artery.
Hey, beginning itself, why you want to jump to that place?
Atrial branch.
See, remember always, coronary artery is very, very easy to remember. There's nothing difficult in coronary artery because both the sides will have almost same branches. Understood? My God. I am standing here, fellows get tired closing. It's okay. Now remember, right coronary artery, right, as soon as it comes out, it gives atrial branches. Left coronary artery also gives atrial branches. Both of them give branches to ventricles. So right coronary artery gives branches to ventricles, so it gives ventricular branches. Clear? Left also gives ventricular branch. Got it? Then the right coronary artery comes here, goes in the right AV groove. Left coronary artery also goes in the AV groove, left AV groove. Before taking a turn, the right coronary artery gives a branch called as right marginal branch. The left also gives left marginal branch. Then the left will continue
Left circumflex.
to the inferior surface. Right also will continue into the inferior surface, but there is only one difference in this. The left coronary artery, right, when it takes the turn, when it curves, it is called as left circumflex artery. But right coronary artery does not have that name. It remains right coronary artery. Understood? Only circumflex artery is present only in left side, not on the right side. Just a nomenclature difference. Understood? Okay. Major branch of left coronary artery is
Left anterior descending.
anterior interventricular artery. Understood? Right coronary artery does not give anterior interventricular artery. Clear? The right coronary artery comes to the crux of the heart. Left circumflex also comes to the crux of the heart. Where they anastomose, the right will continue as posterior interventricular artery. So posterior interventricular artery is a branch of right coronary artery. Clear? Yes.
So what is the other name for this artery?
Which artery?
The posterior.
There's no other name.
So what
Yeah.
about the corners branch? Both also has a
Yes, we'll come to corners now.
okay.
Clear? So after giving all these branches here, we have the conus artery. Understood? Conus artery is given by usually right coronary artery. The left also, if you write it gives conus branch, fine. Clear? Right? So if you want, you can write both. So remember this. There should be one interventricular artery, atrial branch, ventricular branch, marginal branch. Clear? Then branches to conus. So both the arteries will give all the branch. Only thing is you have to say right, left, anterior and posterior interventricular artery. That's all. Otherwise, it is the same. If you write all this for right, if I ask you what are the branches of right coronary artery, if you write all this, still I will not give you full marks. Why? We have missed something here, which left does not give. Only right will give.
SA and AV.
Huh?
SA node and AV node.
Node, artery to SA node, that is called as nodal artery. That is always given by right coronary, because SA node is present in the simple as that. Very easy. So this is the branches of coronary arteries. Clear? Any doubts? No doubts. Very good. If there is no doubts, let's go to the interior of the heart. Okay, let me fill some structures first. Can someone identify the structures I have shown?
Papillary muscle.
Which one is papillary muscle? Yes, that brown is papillary muscle. And what is the thread-like structures attached to the papillary muscle?
Chorda tendineae.
Wonderful. I am not pinning chorda tendineae. Next. See, in examination, chorda tendineae will always be tied. We cannot put a pin. So please understand this. So remember, we will take usually models like this and we will tie the thread here. Alright? This is chorda tendineae. This thread is a chorda tendineae, right? Because chorda tendineae will be very thin, so pinning the structure will be very difficult. Preferably we always tie. Okay? Yes, one is papillary muscle. There is another green color structure which I have put here. If you observe, there is a structure going from the interventricular septum to the right part of the heart. See here? It's connecting it. What is that called as?
Trabeculae carneae, is it?
Trabeculae carneae is anything rough part of heart.
Oh.
See, if you have a rough structure, it's not seen here. See here, this is the right atrium. If you see some rough part here,
Right.
in the right atrium, right? See here, I have put a pin, right? If you see a rough part here in the right atrium,
Right.
what is it called as?
Trabeculae carneae.
What is it called?
Trabeculae.
No, I told you trabeculae carneae is in the ventricles.
Ventricles.
In the ventricles, you will see all rough areas. You see rough areas here? That is all the rough areas. That is called as trabeculae carneae. In the right atrium or even in the left atrium, if present, it is called as musculi pectinati.
Oh. Pectinate muscles.
Musculi pectinati. This is trabeculae carneae in the ventricles. Yes.
Conus.
Usually trabeculae carneae we don't ask because it is present everywhere. Papillary muscle is important. One more structure which I have pinned here is important. See here, this structure. what is, if I pin the structure, let me see if it's present here. It's also present here, but
Green, right? Green.
it's also present in this, but we cannot pin this. Very difficult to pin this.
Oh, maybe it's the.
Alright guys. Alright, yes, see I have pinned it here in this model. It is the same structure which I have pinned there.
Is it what endocardium?
Yes, what is that? That is called moderator band, otherwise called septomarginal trabeculae. That's why I gave you a clue. It goes from the interventricular septum to the right part of the heart. I told you this, right? You should have taken the clue. This is called septomarginal trabeculae, otherwise called moderator band. All right, what is the importance of moderator band? Why is, of all these things we are looking at moderator band?
Underlying the moderator band is the. What is that?
Why should we know about moderator band? Yes, guys, come on, we are going to finish. Jay. See, there was one professor who used to teach us. If he asks us to identify anything we don't identify, he will never let us go home on that day. He will be standing outside the anatomy lab. He will be asking all the students to go. Then he will call, yes, you didn't answer my question. Go find out and tell me what it is. The lab attendant will be eating his head, my God, when this will finish. So he will come and beg to the students, please identify the structures. Then only we can go on time. He will never let a student go out. So that's why I learned this bad habit, not to leave you so.
It has the.
Yes? It contains bundle of nerve fibers. What bundle?
Bundle of his.
Yeah. Right bundle branch. Clear? Right bundle branch is present in moderator band. Clear? What is the function of moderator band?
Conduction.
The name itself says moderator band. It does not allow the stretching of right atrium. Right atrium is already a thin structure. You can see the difference here. Right ventricle and right ventricle and left ventricle. Left ventricle is 3 times thicker than right ventricle. So right ventricle has got a more chance that it can stretch. So whenever it tries to stretch, it also stretches the moderator band where you have the bundle fibers, right bundle branch going through. Immediately it will stimulate the heart, brings about changes. Clear? That's a complicated change. I am not going to talk now. That is the function of moderator band. That's why it moderates things. Understood? So remember, in this model also we have moderator band, which I can pin. All right? Fine. Very simple question. If I pin this structure, what will you write?
Interventricular septum.
Interventricular septum. Now I'll ask you, what is the important questions we can ask in case of this? Suppose I tell you, finish this philosophy with some question, what will you ask?
Septal defect.
Defects, what is located.
Kindergarten question, septal defect. Talk something else, man. What is this?
Formation.
Yes. Girls, you want to finish off the boys with one question?
Development.
That is also simple. They will say both coming and joining together. Finish. Abyss.
What's the question?
The question is to ask the question.
He is in a state of shock. Oh my God. Yes. State the blood supply of the pinned structure and give its importance. What will you write?
Anterior interventricular artery.
Wonderful. First part of the question is very easy. Anteriorly, anterior interventricular artery, posteriorly, posterior interventricular artery. Bulk of the interventricular septum is supplied by anterior or posterior? Anterior.
Anterior.
Posterior is important. Why? Now comes the question.
Coronary predominance.
You will get only half a mark.
Wait,
Yes,
question.
why posterior interventricular artery is very, very important than anterior interventricular. Though it supplies, yes, though it supplies posterior 1/3, anterior 2/3 is supplied by anterior interventricular artery. Posterior 1/3 is supplied by posterior interventricular artery, but posterior interventricular is more important than anterior. Why?
It supplies more of the
Occlusion?
Yes?
In case of occlusion?
Something else. What happens? Yes, if that coronary artery is damaged, what is affected? It's not only the interventricular septum that is affected. Something. What is the structure that is present there in the uppermost part of the interventricular septum? AV node is present there. So AV node gets its blood supply mainly from posterior interventricular artery. Understood? So if posterior interventricular artery is affected, the AV node is also affected. Understood? Of these two arteries, always remember anterior interventricular artery is the artery that is most commonly affected by coronary artery disease. Posteriors can also be affected by interventricular, coronary arteries can also be affected by coronary artery disease. Clear? So that's why most of the people, when they have coronary artery disease, the large amount of ventricular septum is affected. Understood? Okay, that is one side. Identification. See, two things you identified. Then I have put three other pin here. Identify the structures. Identify the blue pin first.
Pulmonary trunk.
Very good. Next.
Conus
Conus arteriosus. Next. Yes, guys, if you identify the next, we will immediately call it a day. We will finish off. It's all up to you now.
What was that?
That one.
foramen
Interventricular
terminalis.
Is he pointing at the interventricular septum?
Fossa ovalis.
Possible values. That's what I was thinking.
They,
No, right? It's yeah. Other.
Right AM.
Yeah. That.
It's a trip.
Wait, is that not?
Fossa
It's not.
No.
Wait, is it not
Oh no, that's
interventricular
fucking
septum?
extreme.
Yeah, only three of
Is
these.
it not interventricular septum?
yes. Now, just see this structure, this blue structure. We will remove this, This blue structure and this pink structure here. Now, with this blue structure, which is also this green structure here, what is that?
Spiral septum.
Spiral septum. My goodness. All of you are good in embryology. What is it?
The blue one is infundibulum, the pink one is aortic vestibule.
Yes, this blue one is pulmonary infundibulum. This red one is aortic vestibule. Now remember this, very easy. Remember, if you look at the ventricles, most part of the ventricle will be rough. Understood? Clear? But when blood is pushed into the pulmonary trunk or pushed into the aorta, you cannot have rough areas there. If rough areas there, what will happen? Excessive turbulence will be there. Whenever blood undergoes excessive turbulence, what happens? It can clot. Understood? Two things should not happen to blood supply. One, there should not be any rough area. Number two, there should not be any stagnation of blood. If these two structure things happen, physiologically, if it happens, immediately blood will think something is wrong, it will start clotting. Understood? Even if there is no pathology, still it can clot. These two things should not happen. Understood? So that's why if you observe, ventricle is rough, but the place where the blood is pushed into the blood vessel, it becomes smooth.
Outflow portion.
So if it is smooth in the pulmonary trunk, it is called as pulmonary infundibulum. Understood? The same thing happens to aorta. That is called as aortic vestibule. Got it? This is very, very important. Why these two structures are important. And of these two, infundibulum and vestibule, infundibulum is the most commonly affected structure in case of cardiac anomalies. You will get infundibular stenosis. Clear? Where you get, in which in condition you get infundibular stenosis? Commonly asked, heart disease. There's a condition called tetralogy of Fallot. Tetralogy of Fallot is a commonly follow. Okay? T is silent, but I am not silent. Now remember, tetralogy of Fallot is important because it has got few components: ventricular septal defect, overriding of the aorta, stenosis of the pulmonary infundibulum, and right ventricular hypertrophy. All these things put together, Fallot tetralogy. Okay? Understood? So this is the two structures you should know. That's what I have pointed here. That's why I put conus here, and below that I put the infundibulum, because conus is the place inside where you have the infundibulum. Got it? Fine. You have understood all these things. Okay.
Yeah. Cooptation of aorta is cooptation.
Transposition.
Transposition. Yeah,
It's just
transposition.
Okay. I have pinned another structure here.
Oh, the one that
Ligamentum arteriosus.
P.
Right. What will you write?
If you write ductus arteriosus, is wrong.
Yeah. Ligamentum arteriosus.
What is the answer?
Ligamentum arteriosus.
Yes, ligamentum arteriosum, because ductus arteriosus is mainly in case of
Baby or
yes,
infant.
case of fetus. Clear? So this is ligamentum arteriosum. Okay. Fine. It's embryologically important. All the things are fine. What is the function of this?
Shunt blood from.
Right to left physiological shunt.
Yeah.
What is the function of this?
Loop.
It's a embryological structure required for shunting of blood from
Pulmonary trunk to.
yes, pulmonary trunk to aorta, because lung is solid in case of fetus. Alright? Fine. What is the important nerve that is related to the structure?
Left recurrent laryngeal.
Left recurrent laryngeal nerve. Right recurrent laryngeal nerve is related to
Subclavian. Is it a subclavian?
subclavian nerve. Okay? Fine. Now this is the transverse sinus which we were talking about before. Let me see. See here? Do we have a thread? Just see if there's a thread there in that box. If I put this, then it will get spoiled. No, fair. You have a scissors there in there? Yes. Just get the scissors. Some of our teachers did all these things. They made us do it and then only leave. That's why I'm
I also do this. I should have asked you to do all this, but unfortunately, I am doing it. But remember, sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind, huh? Otherwise you won't learn. I know what great guys you are, you won't learn. See, this is the place where I have put the thread, is the transverse sinus. See the two structures related to this. Alright? You can take it in your hand and see. If nothing, it won't fall off. Understood? Alright? That is transverse sinus. So in front you can see the two blood vessels. Behind you can see the left atrium. Alright? Okay.
So what's the significance of it? Is it for bypass graft?
Yes, during surgery, if they want to clamp the arteries, tie the arteries.
Okay.
See, once upon a time this was done because we have to close the aorta so that the blood is already going in through the heart-lung machine. So we don't need this function here, right? So we try to put the clamp and then we give what is known as cardioplegic. Cardioplegic means ice cold water or liquid we pass through the aorta so that the body will cool down. All the metabolism will reduce. Understood? Then the heart will stop by itself. Clear? Then we do surgery. Particularly even today it is done because if you want to replace the valve, particularly the mitral valve, if you want to replace, you have to stop the heart. Then only you can replace. So to stop the heart, they do this. Put them on heart-lung machine and then they stop the heart. Totally they will stop. Clear? So that is, to do this, they always pass a tie behind this and tie the this thing, artery. Same thing they will also use, but not through transverse sinus, to tie the SVC and IVC. Because blood coming from the other parts of the body is also taken into the machine. Alright? I have seen this, so I am telling you. I worked in cardiothoracic surgery for 6 months. That was a nice time. I enjoyed, but I didn't become a cardiothoracic surgeon. Anyway, but nowadays coronary arteries, they don't stop the heart. That's called as beating heart surgery. They never stop. They use what is known as octopus. Alright? It's a small instrument whichever artery they want to anastomose, right? They will keep it next to it. For example, if they are going to connect branch from aorta to this place, they will keep the octopus machine on both the sides. All of you have seen octopus, right? What do you call it? Sotong. Yeah, small ones, right? Squid. Now remember, if you look at the limbs of the squid, beneath it you will have lot of suction like pump like areas, right? Cup like areas that will hold the heart on both the sides. So the machine, when you keep it, it will start suctioning and it will hold the heart so that this portion of the heart will not move. All the other part will keep on beating. Understood? Then they anastomose, then they stop the octopus machine, then it will start once again beating. They felt very easy, right? First time when they were doing a valve replacement. Alright, after we replaced the valve, everything, I was just assisting. After replacing all the valve, everything, we have to warm the body and restart the heart. That is the most dangerous part of surgery. How many of you traveled in a plane? Everybody has traveled, right? So remember, which is the most dangerous part of the flight?
Takeoff and landing.
Landing, only landing, not takeoff. Takeoff is more easy. Landing is the most difficult part of a flight journey. So similarly, heart surgery, reviving the heart and starting the heart up again is the most difficult part. So when I was 1 week or 2 weeks into the department, they tried to do a valve replacement. After replacing, they started the heart. It was not responding. It was still. Immediately there was little commotion there. Immediately I fell down like this. I didn't know anything what happened after that. When I got up, I was in the room the next to the operation theatre. They had kept me. They told, what nonsense, you want to become a surgeon and you are falling when the heart doesn't. This is all very common. It's all very common. Then I came to know, okay, this is common. Somehow they will make the heart start. Right? Similarly, aorta also. First time they asked me to put a small ligature. You have to open the tunica and then put a catheter into it. Accidentally I punctured the aorta. Immediately the whole area became red in color. Everything red, because pressure inside the aorta is so much that the theatre light was there. It spouted on the theatre light and everything became red. Immediately I lost consciousness. The chief used to say this. Huh?
Did the patient die?
Aorta is very easy. You can keep with one thing and you can stop. All these things you come to know only later. Right? The chief was, cardiac surgeon was scolding me, you fellow, you say you are this, you are that. And every time something happens, this fellow, we have to carry this fellow. He falls down on the floor, we have to carry him instead of looking at the patient. Okay, so these are all, of course, it all happened. So this is the importance of this transverse sinus. Oblique sinus, importance I have told, it's related to mitral stenosis. Okay. Okay, in this model, what are the questions we can ask? See here, if I tie anything, it is called a tendinae. Alright? If I put a pin in any one of this, you say it is valve. Which valve you should know? Tricuspid mitral valve. Alright? If I put a pin here, then you will say, sorry. If I put a pin here, you will say, what is it? Pulmonary valve, otherwise called, what type of valve it is? Semilunar valve. Alright? So in this model, the other questions we can ask, I can pin this and ask you, what is the structure? Right coronary artery, very good. If I pin this and ask, what is the structure? Yes, left circumflex artery. Yeah? Okay. In the right atrium, most commonly asked structure is this. Okay, this is one structure. This is fossa ovalis.
இதான் fossa ovalis, yeah.
This is fossa ovalis.
In the interventricular septum.
Fossa ovalis.
It's a fetal remnant of foramen ovale.
And if I pin this,
Patent ductus
watch carefully,
arteriosus.
this is limbus fossa ovalis.
So if the foramen ovale does not close, what is the condition known as?
ASD. Or patent foramen ovale.
Yeah, right.
This is limbus fossa ovalis. That is margin of fossa ovalis is called limbus fossa ovalis. Limbus fossa ovalis.
Limbus fossa ovalis, okay.
Okay, just see this.
It's the same thing, right? No?
Difference between limbus and
No, the limbus is the margin.
fossa ovalis.
So what about Cox triangle?
Cox triangle, that we won't ask you.
They what?
It's the most theory. That's why you have the AV node, right? Cox triangle. It's okay, forget about it.
Study now. Study now.
Okay, what is this? I have pinned. Hold it in hand and find out.
Okay. One of you talk and one of you show at the same time.
Peculiar. This is this one.
Orient it first, orient it. Okay. Now talk.
Is it in the atrium or ventricle?
It's
Atrium.
Rough part. Is it a rough part or smooth part of the atrium?
Rough part.
Then what should be called?
Pectinate muscle.
Yes, musculi pectinate. That's what it is. Okay. Let the others also see.
Ventricle.
Alright. Identify what is. Identify these three structures.
This one.
Brown
I
is
think it's anterior.
anterior interventricular artery.
Yeah, this is the aorta one. So anterior.
Anterior interventricular
Anterior
Eugene.
artery.
This one is vein, right?
Yes, remember one structure that is very close to the aorta is the left coronary artery. Another one
Left
coming
coronary
here.
artery.
This is
Anterior interventricular
yes,
artery.
anterior interventricular. And next you can see it's dark in color. It's a vein,
Great
great cardiac
cardiac
vein.
Great cardiac vein.
So great cardiac vein is the one which accompanies
So this
anterior interventricular artery.
Yeah,
Clear?
the coronary artery.
Great cardiac vein.
Then the right one will come here. Can't really see it.
Which one? Yes.
This is a broken heart, man.
Pardon?
Like mine.
Wow.
Trabecular cardi is this. You see the rough structures? That is trabecular cardi.
Bro, he's a good
All the rough
I'd rather go through the 1.5 hour video than not
See here
know
also,
anything for OSPe.
The ventricle, you see all the rough areas, right? That is trabecular cardi. Clear?
Tomorrow neuro.
All right.
I hope this comes.
Okay, I have shown all the important structures.